Ladies and gentlemen, our one and only TJ Dillashaw has returned to the Jackson Pod, the best person on the Jackson Pod by far, bar none. You can see it in the comments. Everybody loves when TJ comes on. Why? Because he's real. He keeps it 100. And on top of that, you can tell, and this is one of the coolest things about the Jackson Pod, we get to really know some of these fighters that have fought, that have competed. Maybe we saw snippets of him, obviously interacting with Conor McGregor on the Ultimate Fighter and these little interactions, but we never really got to know, I feel like, TJ as a fan when he was competing, when he was in the thick of it. But now on the podcast, we get to see how intellectual he is, how committed he is. I mean, people will say stupid negative stuff about him and the drug testing and all that stuff. But if you look back, they retroactively tested all his samples and just trying to stick up for him a little bit. And it was only that one instance, as he's admitted to, when he had a really hard weight cut and he was sick and all that stuff. Anyways, I digress. TJ needs to get his respect, and you can see in his mentality and just the way he talks about fights and fighters and the way he gives advice that he knows what's up and he knows how to approach challenges in life, and he does so, I think, with great success, as he's showing now with his business ventures outside of fighting. But anyways, I digress. What we truly love about TJ on the show is his brutal honesty. And of course, sometimes you roast people without even trying to roast them. He's just being honest. So another instance we have right here of TJ Dillashaw throwing the hammer down and roasting somebody in his sights is Aljamain Sterling. And what I love about TJ is I don't think he's trying to exaggerate. He's trying to be funny. He's just being real. And he's not afraid of what people say about him. He's not afraid of what people think about him negatively, positively, etc. for what he says. He just says what it is. He just speaks the truth. So here we go. He's got something to say about Aljamain Sterling and fighting him with one arm, which he actually did. What a legend. What a savage. Here we go.
Yeah, I wish you would have pulled that when your shoulder popped. I was in the gym that day.
I know.
I was hoping you. But I'm. Who am I to say it, man?
I mean, you hate pulling out of anything, bro. Come
on. But the situation that I was in is a little bit different as well, too, right? Like, I was fighting a guy that I feel like I could still beat with the arm that I had. And
TJ,
that's very disrespectful, bro.
TJ, time out. We're gonna start losing guests if you be acting like that,
bro.
What are you trying to say, TJ?
I felt like I could have knocked him out.
Who?
Sterling.
With one arm?
Yeah, dude, his striking's complete garbage.
TJ, dog, get ready.
But then also listen to this.
It's gonna be bad.
Listen to this, and then I'm also coming back, trying to get my belt back. I know I'm gonna have to have shoulder surgery, so I'm gonna be out for another year and a half. I'm 36 years old. It's kind of like, this might be my last fucking shot. Ends up, yes, it was, because my shoulder was so bad. So it's like, why am I gonna pass up this opportunity? It might be my last shot ever to be a 3-time world champion, like get my belt back, like just
the odds. But you know the odds
were fucking awesome.
No, not when you got one arm.
I'm delusionally optimistic.
Right? Hunger Games. The odds are forever not in your favor. Okay, with one arm.
What a legend. Okay, who goes into a fight and fights one arm with one arm? The only other person I've known that has done that is Gilbert Burns when he fought, Bilal Muhammad. But of course, that happened within the fight. He had the injury, but he kept fighting on with one arm, trying everything. I mean, what a gangster. But TJ went in with his shoulder continuously popping out, and he knew it was his only shot. And of course, retelling the story, he's saying he felt like he could win. I don't know. Maybe that's that delusional optimism that he's talking about, but he said he could have knocked him out with one arm. And of course, the slight to Aljo is he says that Aljo's striking is pure trash. I know Justin's trained with Aljo and Marab, and he really likes both of those guys. But hey, this is it once again, not TJ necessarily even talking trash. This is TJ just being honest, and that's why we love him so much. All right, on this next clip, the final clip here, this is just 2 quick clips that I wanted to showcase and highlight. TJ actually not necessarily ripping on anybody, but he's talking about Arman Tsarukyan. I made a video about him earlier last week in regards to these allegations that he was, it's not even allegations, he's admitted it, that he was offered Gamrot as an opponent. He felt that was an insult to him given his current ranking and Gamrot's ranking right now. And so he turned it down. He said he wants somebody higher up in the ranking. I think he was saying that he would have liked to have fought Dan Hooker or somebody like that. And I mentioned that after what happened against Islam, I felt, just from an objective standpoint, obviously I have no internal relationship with the UFC, but just from an objective standpoint, it seemed like a bad move. Dana White and the UFC brass were already upset with him. And then now they're giving him an offer to come back and prove himself and regain their to be back in their good graces. And he chose to not only reject the fight, which that in and of itself, I can see, but then talking about it negatively publicly, I feel like I was worried was a really bad move. And I think this here is TJ Dillashaw responding to that situation And again, not holding back, being honest, obviously doing it in a gentle way. I think Arman Tsarukyan started off this podcast sitting next to him. They're boys. They train together. So he's doing it gently, but he's telling him the truth, which is what I agree with, which is at some point, I think for Arman Tsarukyan, given the debacle that happened when he was supposed to fight Islam and pulled out the night of the weigh-ins, I think at this point, he can't really be choosers at this point. So anyways, here's TJ Dillashaw keeping it real about Arman Tsarukyan. Check this out.
If they don't give him the Gaethje fight, do you think they say
they're going to give him someone top 5?
Because I think they gave him Gamrot and he already turned it down, and that's the problem now.
I'm trying to. Who's Gamrot?
He was like 10 or 11.
Oh,
they already fought, I believe.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I think he turned it down. So what do you think happened? Do you think they're going to just?
I mean, you can't just keep turning down fights either, too. Like, I mean, you gotta get out there. You gotta stay relevant, right? Even if it's not the fight you want, you got to get out there and stay relevant. You're only gonna be remembered for as much as you're on TV all the time and promoting yourself and winning fights, and act like it didn't phase you, get it behind you, and get out there and get another victory. It doesn't matter who the fuck they give you, just get it done.
So Rampage, do you believe like
they're boys, and he's trying to. Arman was just there. They're training together. They're living probably within close vicinities of each other. That's like TJ's gentle way of saying that. I think he feels like Arman is making a mistake. And if it's the truth, it's the truth. It is what it is. And he was put on the spot. TJ never shies away. And that's why we love TJ, because we can always rely on what he's saying as being authentic. And that's why he's becoming such a big star in the Jackson pod. He is by far, and they say this all the time, the most requested person on the podcast. And I'm always looking for cool clips when he gets on there, whether they're funny or whether they're just sincere and real. So that's it. Not to harp too much on Arman Tsarukyan. I'm sure he's going through his difficulties right now, trying to get the fight that he wants and everything. But I do think this reiterates the point that I made in a previous video, that at this point, I think he's probably not making friends, let's say, within the UFC brass. I do hope he gets a fight. I do hope we can see him fight again. He's one of the best. He's the guy that everybody thought was going to give Islam a challenge. And unfortunately, because of how things have unfolded, whatever happened during that fight, we made many videos about it. I'm not going to rehash it, but whatever happened during that fight, and whatever caused him to pull out, he's not in the good graces of the UFC. The only way he's going to get back there is if he takes a fight, shows again that he can win maybe 1, maybe 2. I don't know how many fights he needs to get back to the belt, but hopefully soon we'll see him back on top. Now that Islam is gone, it looks like that fight will never happen again, but that's fine. I'd love to see Arman compete for eventually the winner of Oliveira and Topuria, or maybe he'll have to wait one more fight. I don't know. Well, it depends on when he actually gets this opportunity. But yeah, let's see him back in the mix. We want to see the best fight the best, and Arman is definitely one of the best in the lightweight division. That's all I got for you guys today. TJ Dillashaw, what a legend. Can't wait till he comes back and throws down more words of wisdom. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.